Today, we venture into the realm of the everyday workplace, where ordinary office buildings hide extraordinary terrors. These places, often seen as symbols of productivity and routine, have witnessed horrors beyond belief. The tales we bring you tonight are not just stories but true accounts of real people who have experienced the unexplainable. From ghostly apparitions to inexplicable phenomena, these office horror stories are sure to leave you looking over your shoulder. So sit back, turn off the lights, and prepare yourself for 3 terrifying true office horror stories. As always, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more bone-chilling content. Now, let's dive into the first story. Story 1. The Night Shift Phantom. In a bustling downtown office building, the janitorial staff always dreaded the night shift. The building was modern and sleek, but it held a dark secret. Strange things began to happen after midnight. Cleaning supplies would disappear, only to reappear in bizarre places. Doors that were securely locked would be found wide open. The most unsettling occurrences were the fleeting glimpses of a shadowy figure that seemed to vanish as quickly as it appeared. One night, Carlos, a seasoned janitor, decided to investigate. He had heard stories from his colleagues about the night shift phantom, but he was skeptical. Armed with a flashlight, he ventured into the dimly lit hallways. As he cleaned, he heard faint whispers and the sound of footsteps echoing down the empty corridors. The temperature suddenly dropped, and Carlos saw his breath misting in the cold air. He turned a corner and froze. There, standing at the end of the hallway, was a translucent figure of a man in old-fashioned office attire. The figure seemed to be staring directly at him. Carlos gathered his courage and approached the ghostly figure, but it vanished before his eyes. He reported the incident to his supervisor, who revealed that years ago, a worker had died of a heart attack while working late. The sightings began shortly after his death, and many believed his spirit was still lingering, unable to move on. The building management attempted to bring in a priest to bless the office, but the eerie encounters persisted. The janitors often felt an overwhelming sense of dread when walking through the halls at night. One night, Carlos decided to document the phenomena. He set up a camera in one of the most active areas. As he reviewed the footage later, he was horrified to see the shadowy figure standing behind him, watching as he worked. The ghostly image flickered and disappeared, but the chill in the air was palpable. Carlos eventually left his job, unable to shake off the terror of that night. New janitors were hired, but the stories of the night shift phantom continued. The office workers now avoid staying late, and the legend of the haunted office lives on, a chilling reminder that some spirits may never find peace. Employees whispered among themselves, sharing their own eerie experiences and warning newcomers about the phantom that roamed the building after dark. The night shift phantom became a part of office folklore, a story passed down from one generation of workers to the next. Story 2. The Cursed Conference Room. In a corporate office in Seattle, employees dreaded meetings in Conference Room B. The room had a history of strange incidents. Projectors would malfunction, lights would flicker, and strange cold spots would appear out of nowhere. But the most unsettling was the feeling of being watched. Several employees reported seeing shadowy figures out of the corner of their eyes during meetings. One evening, Lisa, a project manager, stayed late to finish a presentation. She decided to use Conference Room B for its larger screen. As she worked, she felt an inexplicable chill. Suddenly, the projector turned off by itself. Frustrated, Lisa tried to turn it back on, but it wouldn't respond. She then noticed the reflection of a shadowy figure in the screen. Turning around, she found the room empty. Panic set in, and she quickly gathered her things to leave. As she reached for the door, it slammed shut on its own. Trapped and terrified, Lisa felt a cold hand brush against her arm. She screamed and pounded on the door, which finally flew open as if pushed by an unseen force. She fled the building, refusing to ever work late again. The next day, she shared her experience with her colleagues. One of the older employees explained that the conference room was built on the site of a tragic fire from decades ago. Several workers had perished, and it was believed their spirits were still trapped in the space. Management attempted multiple cleansings and even considered remodeling the office layout, but nothing seemed to help. Conference Room B remained a place of fear and discomfort. Employees scheduled their meetings elsewhere, and the room was eventually locked, becoming a storage area. The story of the cursed conference room became an office legend, a chilling tale shared with new hires as a warning to respect the unseen forces that lingered within. Employees who had no choice but to use the room reported seeing ghostly figures reflected in the glass walls and hearing whispers during meetings. Some even felt an icy hand on their shoulders. The unsettling atmosphere led to decreased productivity, and management had to reconsider their plans. They brought in a renowned psychic who conducted a seance, hoping to communicate with the spirits and offer them peace. The psychic confirmed the presence of multiple entities, all victims of the tragic fire. Despite her efforts, the spirits remained restless. The room was eventually sealed off, but the eerie experiences didn't stop. Shadowy figures were seen wandering the hallways near Conference Room B, and the cold spots appeared randomly throughout the office. The curse seemed to have spread, making the entire floor a place of fear. Employees avoided the area, and the legend of the cursed conference room grew, a haunting reminder of the past that refused to be forgotten. Story 3. The Elevator of Terror. In a high-rise office building in New York City, the elevator had a notorious reputation. Employees frequently complained about its erratic behavior. It would stop on floors without being called, lights would flicker, and sometimes it would refuse to move at all. Maintenance teams found nothing wrong, yet the strange incidents continued. One rainy evening, Sarah, a young intern, was working late. She finished her tasks and headed to the elevator to go home. As she entered, the lights flickered, and the doors closed slowly. The elevator began to descend but abruptly stopped between floors. The emergency button did nothing, and Sarah's phone had no signal. Panic set in as the lights went out completely, plunging her into darkness. Suddenly, the elevator jerked and began to move again, but instead of descending, it ascended rapidly. Sarah heard faint whispering and felt a cold breeze, even though she was alone. The elevator stopped on the 13th floor, a floor that didn't exist in the building's plans. The doors opened to a dark, empty corridor. Stepping out, she found herself in what looked like an old, abandoned office space. The air was thick with dust, and she felt an overwhelming sense of dread. As she explored, she saw shadowy figures darting around and heard the distant sound of typing. She realized she was not alone. Terrified, she ran back to the elevator, but the doors closed just as she reached them. She pounded on the doors, screaming for help. Suddenly, the elevator opened, and she was back on the ground floor, the lights bright, and the doors wide open. Shaking, she rushed out and vowed never to use that elevator again. The next day, she told her colleagues about her experience. They revealed that the building had been constructed on the site of an old office that had burned down, killing several workers. The 13th floor was said to be a ghostly remnant of the past. Sarah's story spread through the office, and the elevator became known as the Elevator of Terror. Employees avoided it whenever possible, opting for the stairs, and the legend of the haunted elevator became a permanent part of the building's history. Despite attempts to repair and inspect the elevator, the mysterious occurrences continued. Maintenance workers reported feeling watched and hearing strange noises while working on the elevator. One worker claimed to have seen a ghostly figure standing at the top of the elevator shaft, staring down at him. The fear surrounding the elevator grew, and management had to address the situation. They brought in paranormal investigators who set up cameras and recording equipment. The investigators captured chilling footage of shadowy figures and disembodied voices whispering names. The evidence confirmed the employees' fears. The elevator was indeed haunted. Management decided to decommission the elevator, sealing it off permanently. A new elevator was installed on the opposite side of the building, but the stories of the Elevator of Terror continued to haunt the employees. Over time, the legend of the haunted elevator became a part of the building's lore. New employees were warned about the 13th floor and the ghostly figures that roamed the halls. The old elevator remained a chilling reminder of the building's dark past, a place where the spirits of the victims still lingered, unable to move on. If you enjoyed these eerie tales, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Legendary Stories for more unsettling content. Your support helps us continue to bring you the best in horror storytelling. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that are true. Stay safe and sleep well, if you can.